During the month of June, we're looking into the experiences of those who support a loved one's coming out. And joining us now with his insights is behavioural psychologist Pádraig Walsh. Welcome to the show.
Okay.
From my own experience of coming out when I did way back in 2001, your loved ones, your family, your parents, they will always worry, won't they?
They will. What a journey this country, we have all been on since 2001. Like 2001 was a time where, it was closer to a time where it was illegal to be homosexual in Ireland than it was for same-sex marriage to be legal in the country. Like at that time, one in five people accepted homosexuality. Now we have more than 4 in 5 people and beyond who are in favour of same-sex marriage. So this country has come on a massive journey in that very, very short space of time. But going back to family and friends, we always worry for each other. Think about it as a parent, as a sibling. Your loved ones, even the term loved ones, ones that we love, we want the best from them. That coming out journey is a red letter day for somebody.
Yeah.
It is a big moment. I text a lot of my friends who are gay and I said, tell me about your coming out journey this week, in research for the segment. And it was interesting. It was so, such a positive, experience to ask such a personal question of so many of your friends, to say, to talk about this intimate moment. And a lot of them described it as an invitation. Coming out as an invitation to your family, your friends, your parents, to say, I want you to see the whole me.
Let me ask you there, out of the people that you were messaging, universally, were they all positive experiences for them? Was there acceptance straight away?
There was acceptance straight away, but there was questions as well. Because as family, you're concerned. Like you said, we're always worrying about our kids. That's just an omnipotent part of our lives. It's constant. But you're at a red letter moment where you're saying, okay, now you've got this invitation to understand my authentic self.
Yeah.
When you're coming out, you're saying, this is my authentic self, and I love you so much, I want you to be part of this. Sitting on the other side of the table as that parent or friend, you want them to feel valued, to feel loved, to feel accepted.
Well, on that note, I just have to step in and say we can't underestimate that kind of support that comes from family and friends and loved ones. But I need to ask you, what are the long-term effects for someone that comes out but is not supported by the people that are nearest and dearest to them?
The support of family and friends is what we would call a huge protective factor. But Trinity College did some research into this recently, and they looked among 631 14 to 18-year-olds who participated in their study. It was the comparison of mental health effects for people coming out, that they had 50% of them experience severe or extremely severe symptoms of depression, 66% experience severe, extremely severe symptoms of anxiety. So in the absence of those protective factors, there is a greater risk of those mental health difficulties presenting. However, on the flip side of that, where you have the support of family and friends, the acceptance of your authentic self, that's a huge protective factor at a very vulnerable point in someone's life where they're coming out and saying, hey, this is all of me now. This is something that I want to share with you. And where you have that acceptance, where you have that support, it's a hugely protective factor.
I think it is great to highlight the acceptance, but on the flip side, it's no wonder these people have anxiety and mental health issues if they're telling the people they love who they are and they're not being accepted.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the cruelest thing.
It's a really cruel thing where somebody's not being accepted for their authentic self. And it can be challenging for the parent, for the friend, for the sibling. And at that point in time, what you want to do is allow time. Time is a really good...
So then let me ask you, for anyone, right now that could be watching the show tonight, watching this conversation, and they are struggling with the fact that someone they love has come out to them, what can they do to understand this better?
First thing is to realise that we're living in a completely different country to the one we had 20 years ago. Like year on year, more and more acceptance. And the world that somebody is coming out into now, the Ireland that somebody is coming out into.
It's a different Ireland.
It's a completely different Ireland. Like some of the stories, I think sometimes it's best to even share stories. Like a friend of mine talked about coming out to, or there was in the library in Dunleary, there's a lovely Humans of Dublin exhibition at the moment. I'd highly advise you going in. And I stopped and I read the story of one Brazilian man, and he said, Ireland gave me the freedom to be who I am without acting. Here, nobody treats me any differently. It's so liberating that to this day, I get it's so liberating that to this day I get butterflies in my stomach just thinking about it. And this was a man who had to hide his authentic self in Brazil, came to Ireland, and that was such a story. But the term butterflies in my stomach, that was the acceptance that he got in Ireland, that he feels like he can be his authentic self. And it's so exciting for him to be that. So as allies, as friends, as just bystanders, because when we are talking about, about sexuality among someone who's a part of the LGBTQ plus community, or just in general, we may be among someone who hasn't come out yet, or who may be thinking about that. So the language that we use, the posture that we have around that is hugely important when somebody is looking for that permission to come out, to be themselves, to seek support.
You touched on language there so quickly. What are some ways, or like languages especially, that can help facilitate conversations when someone is coming out to their family and friends?
Yeah, like when you're trying to have a serious conversation, you're trying to set the occasion. And setting the occasion is hugely important. It's the same when you're having any really necessary supportive conversation. This is both for parents and for the person coming out. Like, try and set the right tone and place. Hugely, time and time again, when friends of mine came back, they said, be non-judgmental. Like, where they were met with no judgment, where there was unconditional positive regard, where they're saying, I love you, you're still my loved one, and there is no judgment, there's curiosity.
That reassurance is
that
important.
really reassures. There's curiosity there, but no judgment.
Okay.
You know, that was one of the overarching themes that emerges there as well.
And any good strategies or resources that viewers at home can look into around this topic?
Time and time again, Belong To came back.
Yeah.
Time and time again, Belong To spoke really highly of. It's an online resource. Check it out. And it offers huge resources, both for the person coming out and also those loved ones around.
Yeah, it's an amazing organisation.
And of course, details just at the bottom at a screen there for anyone that wants